just a quick update on the Buick Riviera. We've basically, let me show you it, we've basically got the paint off it. We're at a stage where we're not too far from being able to put a coat of paint on it. The way that we've decided to paint this car is, the first thing we're going to do is put a coat of epoxy primer on it. The reason that we use an epoxy primer is because it really sticks well to the metal and it's completely waterproof, so it will seal in the metal and make sure that it doesn't corrode. The big thing that we're really concerned about is any sort of water ingress, so that's what we're going to cure. And then once we've got the metal sealed and weatherproof, then we can carry on. Last time we basically removed the paint from just about all of the car. This was able to show us what we got left to do. So now it's time to get on and start stripping it down further. When we got that bolt out, you could see how badly corroded it was. The inner wings are actually in really good order, although I think we are going to refinish them. We're going to mount this aftermarket radiator properly because it's not been put on any sort of anti-vibration pads. In fact, it wasn't really attached very well at all. We'll deal with that once we're putting the car back together. The inner wings are absolutely huge. So that's both inner wings off. We've also removed the door skins, which actually unbolt from the doors. Now, the worst bits we found is this bit on the right hand rear quarter, which had to be chopped out because it was completely rotten. So we made a panel and welded that in. It's not perfect, but we're not worrying about that because we've got a way of fixing it so that we know that it's right. We did struggle with MIG welding this in because as we were tacking it, it kept blowing through in areas. But what we're going to do is we're going to break out a different welder which should be able to cope with the thinner metal. Now this is our laser welder, and with this you can actually put lovely seams down. This is when I was learning how to use it, so these aren't really lovely seams, but they are effective. The most difficult thing is, because it's so precise, is you often can miss the actual line that you're meant to be welding and have to go back over it. And there you go, very minimal heat put into it and a nice seam. The other thing that we had to weld up is we decided to de-trim the sides of the car because some of the trim was missing, and also with the colour that we're going to be painting it, it's going to look really nice if it's nice and smooth. So that's the idea, we're going to smooth out the sides a bit. This is the worst bit of corrosion on the whole car, underneath the back window. It's mainly because this has had a vinyl roof on it and it's trapped a load of water behind it. So what I'm going to do, so you can see the full extent, I've broke out our laser cleaner and we're going to see how it cleans up. The answer is not very well. It's been repaired before and it's absolutely full of holes. So what we decided to do was to make a new panel. We made it in 2 halves. And then there it is. It's been mounted. It's not been welded in yet using those skin pins or clecos, whatever you want to call them. And there it is after it's been tack welded in with the MIG welder. Now I'm going to weld up the seams using the laser. This is in real time, it's not speeded up in any way, and you can actually see that it welds quite quickly. It produces really neat welds, especially when you consider that I don't know how to use any other welder but this one. Pretty soon we'll be starting to get ready to put some paint on this. Before we actually get to that stage though, there's still a little bit of bodywork that needs doing. Although we've sorted out major holes and parts have been put back in, there's just little things here, like I'm really concerned about this, where there's a few little holes like this. Here's an existing repair that somebody had done before. A couple of little pinholes here where it was blowing through when it was being welded, and down here. So we've got a way of curing that, and what we're going to do is we're going to lead it. Rather than using a body filler, which the problem with body fillers are generally they will soak up water like a sponge, and that's just not going to do any good to your bodywork because it's just going to rot away. We're going to make sure it's sealed by using lead, which is how they used to do it back in the day. And you can see that this lead here, you can see this area here is lead. There you go, it's focused now. This here is lead, and that's over 60 years old, and it's basically perfect. So we're going to use some lead and sort some of these out, and any last little remaining bits before we hit it with some epoxy primer, and that way we know that the body is not going to take any water on at all, so it should last many years. Before we can lead it, we need to clean it, so time for me to break out the laser cleaner again. This tool is absolutely fantastic for all sorts of things. It removes the rust and leaves it perfectly clean. Now, where the holes are, we need to knock them in slightly. The reason for doing this is we've got to provide some surface area for the lead to grab onto. So let's get some tinning paste on it. We're just going to do this difficult bit first. That would have been quite an awkward panel to make. It would have been time consuming, and this is going to be a lovely repair that's completely waterproof, and it's done within minutes rather than hours. Once the tinning paste is up to temperature, you wipe it off, and then you can mount the lead onto it. Once you've got the lead where you want it, you can smooth it out, which then means you've got a lot less sanding to do before you paint it. Now that we've been over and done all the lead in and there's no little holes left in this anymore, water ingress isn't going to happen, so it's time for us to prepare the roof. We're using this surface conditioning tool in order to get any remnants of paint left. We could do it with the laser, but this is quicker. Here we're using the laser to get rid of the rust from the bottom of those deep pits. What's really great about using the laser is that you haven't got to grind away at the metal, making the bodywork thinner. Removing this haze of rust that's on the side is made so much quicker by this laser. If we had to do this by hand, because of all the shapes in this side, it would have took hours, and with this it's literally taken a few minutes. A great advantage of this laser derusting is that it's line of sight, so if you can see it, you can point the laser at it and get rid of the rust. Now in this recess on this gutter, it would be a real pain to try and get in there with little tiny tools, but with this, a job that would take hours is completed within minutes. Look how quickly it removes the rust from this panel that we fitted. It's only a haze of rust, it's surface rust, but just how quick is that? How many hours of work have we saved? Now we're on to blowing all the dust off the body and having a good look at it. And then it's time to shoot some paint. As this is epoxy primer, all we're really interested in is getting a coat of something on it that is waterproof and rust resistant, so that this body doesn't keep going off, because we only get a chance to work on it at the weekend. By the time we've left it from the previous week, it started to go rusty again, so we really need to get something on it. Let's speed this up a bit. time to pour a bit more paint into the gun. Nearly finished. All we're trying to achieve today is to get something on this to stop it rusting, and then we can do all of the filler work and shape work that's needed on top of this without fear of it going rusty. And here she is, finished, ready for us to come back to next week and crack on with the filler work.